Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Logan. I'm a Southeast Michigan realtor. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over my personal experiences in my first 5 months of being a realtor. From getting harassed to even getting hacked, I've had a very interesting first 5 months in real estate. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down 4 unfortunate events that happened to me for your entertainment. Begin my series of unfortunate events, we'll go to my very first lead. I received this lead through my broker. He didn't have time to help this guy out, so he sent his information over to me. When me and this lead first started talking, they seemed like a pretty normal person. We talked about what area they were looking in and what they were interested in terms of their housing. And as we started to talk more and more, they started to ask very odd questions that were almost too personal. They kept asking to meet up at a location that would not be real estate related. It was just an overall very odd scenario with a person who wanted to be way too close to me as we just started talking that same day. When I called them out on it, they seemed pretty offended, and ultimately they told me the only way that they would work with me if I were to meet them, I believe they said at a gym. After they said this, I just blocked them and stopped talking to them altogether. And yeah, that was my first lead in real estate. Second event in the series of unfortunate events for me came when I got my first listing. I received this lead through my broker, who received it through Zillow. He didn't have time to help them out, just like in the first case. And so he sent the contact information over to me, and I gave him a call. In the call, he talked about how he owned 2 pieces of farmland and that he was trying to sell one of the pieces of farmland to open up cash for a business venture. When I got off the phone with him, I went straight to work. I did a CMA on the land, and I dug into the public records to get more information. My broker and I came to a price, and when we presented it to him, he accepted it almost immediately. I went out there, took listing photos, and then that night I put it on the MLS. First thing in the morning when I was driving to work, I received a cash offer. The buyer wasn't represented by an agent, so I offered to help him out with the contracts. And as I was drawing up the paperwork, the office assistant got a call from a unknown person, and they were asking for me. When I went to the phone and picked it up, it was a person claiming that they owned the land and that it was not for sale. As soon as I got off the phone, I immediately withdrew it from the MLS, canceling the listing, and I drove the hour drive there to retrieve the sign. And on my way there, I got a call from their lawyer saying to unconditionally withdraw the listing from the MLS immediately, and I told him that I already did. And when I pulled up to the property, I was confronted by the entire family. I'm talking aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings. Everybody was there, as well as the sheriff. The owner of the land had taken the for sale sign out of the ground and placed it in the back of his truck and saying he wasn't going to give it back to me. I was questioned by the police, and they said that this happens pretty often, that the people use spoof phones and fake numbers and emails, and they try to sell these vacant lots of land. Once everything was settled and I talked to the sellers about everything and they understood what happened, the police told the seller to give my sign back, and so I got the sign back and I drove home. The guy claiming to have owned the land was never found because he was using the spoof phone and the emails. And that was my first listing. And in the third event of my series of unfortunate events is when I got hacked. To start this story, I got a lead from Remax's website. This lead was a woman claiming to be from Los Angeles trying to relocate to Southeast Michigan. The catch here was she only wanted to communicate through WhatsApp. Now, I knew previously that WhatsApp was a pretty fishy app, but I decided to go along with it and downloaded the app, and we started communicating through there. She said she was looking to move to Michigan to get away from the city life and kind of settle down. After, I would say, 2 to 4 weeks of almost everyday communication, after sending her multiple listings, she finally found one that she wanted to put an offer in. I had to get the proof of funds from her, and she sent them via email. When I opened the email to see the proof of funds, it was a screenshot of a Wells Fargo bank account with the necessary funds in it. Everything was fine, and I went home that night. I actually went to my I actually went to my girlfriend's house, and I was telling her parents about this, and her stepdad actually told me to be careful with those types of things because it's very common that people get hacked. So I woke up, and in the morning I received a notification on my phone from my email saying that my ID had been removed from my email. So quickly, I called Google's security team and let them know what was happening. They were actually very helpful and let me know exactly what kind of virus was on my phone. They also let me know what the hackers were already doing, and let's just say they were doing a lot. Essentially, I had to reorder all of my debit cards and credit cards because they were compromised, and I had to create a new Gmail because that Gmail would always be compromised from that point on. I had to factory reset all of my devices because the specific bug targeted the Wi-Fi, so any of my devices that were on that Wi-Fi were compromised. So I had to factory reset my phone, I had to factory reset my laptop, and I had to factory reset my desktop. This was a very stressful day because I was in constant worry of my all of my money in my bank account being stolen, but thankfully nothing was touched. And I think because I acted so quickly, a lot of the damages that could have been done were avoided. And in the last of the series of unfortunate events, this was actually not because of a lead, but because of another realtor. I got this lead through Zillow, and they were a investment property company looking to purchase a newly listed fixer-upper in Southwest Detroit. They wanted to submit a cash offer at asking price with no contingencies. I wrote up the offer and submitted it, and within about a day and a half, I got a call from the listing agent saying my offer was accepted. I was ecstatic because this would have been my first deal. And the next day, he called me and let me know that a higher offer was submitted, so my offer was no longer accepted. Because he accepted the offer over the phone and had not set the contract back yet, he was able to receive higher offers and not fully accept them. After a lot of back and forth negotiating, me and my clients ultimately just wrote up an escalation clause up to the highest they were willing to put on the property, and the realtor decided to do highest and best. And that morning is when we submitted the offer. And through constant communication with him, I was trying to see if we were still the highest and best. And 30 minutes before the deadline for highest and best, we were still the highest offer. So I was pretty confident we were going to get it. At the time that the highest and best deadline was up, I texted him, asking if we got it. No answer. 3 minutes later, I was asking if they had any update. No response. I called, nothing. And about an hour after the highest and best deadline, he gave me a call, and he said that they accepted an offer that was below what we offered. I confronted him on it, and I said we had a higher offer. Why didn't it get accepted? He basically said that he didn't see it. He said that he opened up the email and that he saw the list price, but he didn't see the escalation clause. Now, I'm going to assume that this is BS because in my offers, I use a cover letter that has a summary of the offer. And in that cover letter was reference to the escalation clause. So even if he just opened the offer, he would have seen that my escalation clause was there. When I was calling him and confronting him about it, I asked if it was his buyer, and he said yes. So in my mind, he purposely accepted a lower offer to get double the commission on the deal. Obviously, I was furious, and when I told my clients, they were furious as well. Because the contract was already signed, there was nothing we could really do about it. And just like that, my first real deal fell through. And that's my series of unfortunate events. And in my first 5 months of real estate, it has been super interesting, and it hasn't been all bad. There have been some good things that have happened, and overall, I'm definitely enjoying real estate in general. If you'd like to see a video of, the positive things that have happened in my first 5 months of real estate, drop it in the comments below. I knew that the downsides of my first 5 months of real estate would be more entertaining, so that's why I chose to do that first. And overall, I learned a lot in my first 5 months of real estate. Even if you take just the bad things, I learned that you need to set boundaries with your clients. I learned to notice the red flags that certain clients are showing and to be wary of that. I also learned the telltale signs of a bug or a virus so I can avoid that in the future. And I learned to always get things in writing so that they're time-stamped and official. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it entertaining and consider liking and subscribing for more real estate videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in next week's video.